Hi, this is Kendra from Pencil and Pigment, and today I'm going to be drawing a piece of bark that I found in my backyard. I thought about doing a big flower, and maybe I'll do a flower later on another video, but honestly wood was up in the rotation, and I don't have a lot of practice drawing wood, and I know it's not glamorous, and I know it's not like the most interesting thing in the entire world, but trees. So if I start small and get comfortable drawing bark and pieces of wood, then drawing larger trees and putting those things in context will be much easier. I'll have a higher level of confidence with it. So this is the piece I found. Isn't that pretty? But I'm going to be drawing this. I want all the weirdo textures and grooves and divots and like pock marks and all the things. I mean, this would be a lovely lesson in like blending browns, but this is just more captivating. So let me get started with a couple composition sketches, and I apologize, this is super washed out. I need my lights on. It's a rainy, cloudy day, and I have to have my desk lights on because there's just no sunshine whatsoever. Hello, October. October and all the rains. So, you can kind of see that. And it's kind of, well, it's crescent shaped-ish. So there's this, obviously. There's sort of, looks like a big bean in my sketches. I could have it mirroring itself with different mediums. It's bark, so I could just straight up draw a tree and then have that piece sort of highlighted within the tree. Does that make sense? I don't know what kind of tree this is from. I have some found items in my sketchbook, so not everything is going to be specifically labeled. We're just doing our best. So I think I'm going to trace it like this. Oh, it's such a weird texture. Do you like textures? Textures is not a thing for you? Okay. I'm so tactile that I have to touch everything. And in touching everything, it's strange. Do you want to see what this looks like up close? Like super up close? Okay, let me go ahead and splice in some zoomed in images with my, my digital microscope. Did you enjoy that? Was that as weird as I thought it was gonna be? It is sort of strange. I'm grabbing my browns, and then I think I want my gray. I don't know. I'm just gonna grab all my browns. And again, I have some convenience color browns apart from my 36 set because I do a lot of like fur and animals and stuff. So if you want the names of these pencils, colors, let me put my glasses on and I will tell them to you. So this guy looks like, okay, we have burnt ochre. This one's sepia and he's in a General's pencil extender. This is the warm gray 5. This one is walnut brown. This one is Van Dyke brown. And this one is raw umber. So browns and grays. I think that's a safe assumption. And I have to pencil extender because my sepia is getting really tiny. But it's a nice convenience color, especially if you don't have, if you don't have the budget for specific colors, or you're just getting started, or you're not sure what convenience colors you may need later on for things that you gravitate towards because you're just starting out. Brown and black. Layer those together for a nice sepia. Okay, let's get started. So I'm just going to, I want to lighten my edge just a little bit. It's not quite so strong. And then I'm going to practice the layering techniques, the really soft layering. Okay. All right, so I'm going to start out with this one. This is my walnut brown. It's not the largest one either. I only have one pencil extender, and then I have a pencil holder. This is a Sonic pencil holder. It's fine for sort of this size. It's definitely really comfy if you find that you like having grips, or that these pencils are just too tiny, like the circumference is too small and you're starting to get hand cramps. There are pencil holders, but they are not extenders. So the second that this one gets super short, I have no choice but to put it into an extender because it slides around in here. And this one has like an eraser that moves around that you could buy extra erasers for. So I will link these products in the description box if you are curious, but let's get started. And I am just going to do really light browns. And I apologize for the loud cars. It is the weekend. I cannot control what people do. Though if they asked me, I would definitely give my opinion. Okay, so I am just doing a really light sort of soft circles to sort of figure out the shape. And I'm going to be layering and layering all the browns, and I want some of these things to have darker, some of these things are going to have lighter, some of these things are going to have multi-layers. There's going to be lots of different pieces, parts going on here as things are blended out and blended together. There's just a little bit of this one in there. And the thing with brown is it seems like, oh yeah, no, just layer a couple browns, it'll be fine. You know what? Let me show you something. Because I did a branch. I did a branch, and this is my branch, right? These are all the colors I used. So it's definitely not just like 2 browns and go. It's doing bark and stuff. I had no idea how rich and convoluted the details are to make it more interesting and dynamic. You've got to add like all the colors. And I'm even thinking, I have a Caran d'Ache luminescence. I have Carmine Lake, which is a really rich red, and I think I might have some of that in there too, just to keep going with the richness. So yeah, and this is what it's going to look like, just really light layers of multiple colors and just pressing down different weights. If you swatch your colored pencils, swatch them with different pressures, swatch them with different colors layered on top, and make copious amounts of notes. This is what raw umber looks like on top of walnut. This is what Carmine Lake looks like on top of walnut. Really start to be able to see and identify the individual colors, and as they are layered, what that starts to look like. It really, really helps you. This is just practice. Being able to pick apart and see all the individual colors is just from months and months and months of drawing challenges and practices and going, okay, that's got to be this color and this needs to be that color. And really getting a sense of what these individual things start to look like. You can see how grayish brown sepia is. I love sepia. Sepia is such a beautiful color. Of all the colors I love in the world, sepia is one of my favorites. I don't know why. I think it just looks great with everything. Like, I think it looks good with pastels, with jewel tones, with metallics. There's something about brown that's just stunning. Okay. You're like, really? Yes, really. Yep, you heard it first from me. All the browns. But again, I do a lot of animals, so like a lot of fur. Again, botanicals, if you are leaning into wood elements, browns would be helpful. If you do urban sketching and you're really interested in like buildings and things like that, having a couple different browns could be really helpful. It's just layers. It's just layers and layers and layers. And this is what takes the time, is going over very slowly all the different layers and being able to piece apart. This is why I have like audiobooks and like music playlists that I listen to. I just listen to things while I get in this sort of zone of drawing and drawing and drawing. And it helps me out. And it's enjoyable. I try to listen to some like series, like different series of books. I like some murder mysteries, those are nice. Fiction. I should specify, fiction. Yeah. Of course, radio. Radio's a thing people still do. Yeah. All the things to listen to. You put on a movie, one you don't need to watch. I have a lot of trouble with the superhero movies. You know what I'm talking about, like the Marvel movies. Those are not good movies to put on in the background unless you've seen it 12 times and you have it memorized. There just isn't enough dialogue. It's a lot of onomatopoeias. Ouch, bang, smack, whoa. Like, it's a lot of those, and then explosions. So you don't really get, it's really hard to do one of those movies and listen to one of those while drawing and trying to build up layers of just a piece of bark. No, my priorities are fine. It's everybody else that's cattywampus. It's glamorous, I promise. Everybody's gonna be interested. I love it. Bark. It's such a new thing to me. Like, you see it on the ground, you see it with the trees, and I never once thought, I should collect some of that and draw it. Like, never once did that even occur to me. And now that I'm doing it, I've been looking at more like tree surfaces and stuff. I look at trees kind of funny and go, oh, I wonder what it'd be like to draw you. It's such a weird random thing. Don't take me places in public. That's what I'm getting at. I make weird comments like, oh, that would be fun. Staring at a tree trunk. But I've never drawn like bark pieces before. Of all the years I've been drawing and doing art and all the things, like wood's never been one of them. So this is such a new weird thing. And it's kind of like you can't really screw it up. As long as you're doing different colors and different pressures and you're blending sort of things into each other and layering them in really like soft ways, it all sort of flows and goes, and none of it looks, I'm gonna get some black. None of it looks terrible. It just looks like it all belongs, like it's all kind of purposeful. So it's a really strange thing to draw wood and then be like, wow, this is a lot of fun, and why haven't I done this before? It would be a great blending exercise for layering and doing different colors. I know. You're thinking, really? Yeah, no, I'm serious. It's so strange. You know what I want? I want my earth green yellowish for some of this. For some of this right here. I know this is too green, but if you layer it with gray, I think I might be able to pull that off. Okay. Let's just let's do a little bit of brown. And we'll add a little bit of this green, the earth green yellowish. I'm sure there's a better convenience color than the one I have, but it's the one I have, and I've been able to make it work. There aren't too many things I've been frustrated about with this set of 36 of polychromos, except one, it didn't have a dark green, and two, I could not make a cool pink. I layered and layered and layered and practiced and practiced and tried things, and I could never make a cool pink. So I had to buy one. It's ultramarine. What are you? You are ultramarine pink. And this is a luminescence. I could not make a cool pink with the 36 set. I tried. I tried for months and months. And it's sort of one of those things where you don't know the set you buy, you don't know its strengths and weaknesses till you get into drawing challenges and you figure out what you like to draw, and you figure out what works best, and you figure out what you gravitate towards, and then you're like, oh, I can't make that color if I tried. Let's see, how do I do this? And then you just start making a list, like a shopping list of, next time I'm doing a mediums purchase of art supplies, think about this color, think about this color. I had to check light fastness, figure out which brands I wanted to try. There was research, genuine research being done, trying to figure out the best use of my money, the best place to spend it, and then how often would I use that. And really, I only use this color for botanicals. So I've used it for mushrooms and I've used it for flowers. I have not used this for any other thing. So it wouldn't be a good idea to purchase something similar, like in a different shade, a little darker, or a different tint, a little lighter. That would be a waste of my money since I just don't use it often enough, and that one suffices with different levels of pressure and different layering. So, mindful in our purchases. Again, it's something where you have to use and use and use your supplies and then figure out where you're struggling, where you're spending the most time. Are you spending the most time on the portions you want to spend the most time on? If you're constantly blending to get one specific color, where are you? There's a color I love more than everything. This is the malachite green, and this is a really, it looks bright on my camera, but it's a deeper teal. This is a Caran luminescence. I was constantly layering to make this color. This is not my first pencil. The second one went all the way down to the nub and I couldn't use it anymore. That's a convenience color that I used all the time just because if I work monochromatically, I could do a portrait with all that. It's just a beautiful color. And it's one of my favorite colors. So I think I used it for one mushroom. And then I just throw it in. I did a figure drawing challenge and I did all figures with that color. I just gravitate towards it. So it's something that it doesn't show up a lot in nature at all, but it's one of my favorite colors that I was constantly making. So you may have colors like that. You may have colors where you genuinely need it because your set that you purchased or the ones you own just don't have anything like that, or it may be one of those things where you just love it. So again, make notes, figure out what you like. Initially, I think it was 2017, I bought two colors. I bought a green polychromos and I bought this malachite and luminescence. And I had two colored pencils to my name. That's it. That's all I owned. And I did weird one-off doodles and they basically sat in one of my jars because I have to see all my supplies or I forget about them. So I use a lot of recycled applesauce pickle sauce jars. And they sat there until I started using them. And I was trying to figure out, like, when I go to buy a set, what do I need? If I go to buy a set, which brand do I prefer? And I just couldn't decide. And I ended up going with the Polychromos because they were having a really good sale. Which I don't know if that is the best reason to buy a thing, but they performed so similar. And I hadn't used them like 30 days in a row, so I couldn't really tell the difference between the two brands. So I bought the Polychromos 36 set, and I've been adding to it ever since. And I'm kind of done. There's no more colors I need to buy. It takes me a long time to go through yellows. Like, I know this about myself. Yellow is not my favorite color. I don't gravitate towards it when I'm just doing something monochromatic and I'm bored. One, it's really difficult for it to show up and see the different values. So when we're talking about like color value, we're talking about how light or dark something is. This is a value scale. I can link one of these. Amazon sells them. It's just too hard to see the different values within yellow. So while I like a deep dark orange once in a while, I never pick up a yellow and I'm like, yeah, let's just draw something yellow. Like, that's not... I plan on doing a sunflower in this book, but that's a very recognizable shape. That's a recognizable flower. Like, all the parts and pieces to that are really recognizable. Otherwise, I just don't grab yellows. I hardly have ever used up my yellows. I'm still on the first pencil I bought years ago. So it wouldn't make sense for me to buy, like, start out with a set of, I don't know, 120, whatever they are. Whatever the largest set is, like, that doesn't make sense because there would be so many colors I would hardly ever use and they would just sit there. And I know that's like a huge temptation because you see those videos. I bought the whole entire collection of blank and I'm going to do a drawing with as many of them as possible. But that's fun for like a video. But that's not really how people create. Like, people end up having their few favorites and the things that work for their subject matter, and then that's about it. So the other things just kind of sit there. And granted, colored pencils aren't like pens or anything. It's not a thing where it's going to go bad or things are going to dry up. Colored pencils are good. But why spend such a huge chunk of money on things you're barely going to use, is my argument, when you could be using that money for other products that would also really, really help. Like a good sharpener, like another sketchbook. I do have transfer, like there is colored pencil transfer on the opposing page. So having a sort of spray fixative can be helpful. I don't really spray my colored pencils. For my bigger illustrations in A4 books, I have put sheets of paper in between. I really only spray if it's pastel or charcoal, just because it's stinky. And while I have a balcony and everything, I'm really cognizant of pets and kids, and it's just not good to breathe. So I'm kind of stingy with mine. And I don't worry about it too much with colored pencil. I just kind of let those things go. So it is what it is. And you have to decide, you know, how you're going to make that work for you. Oh, okay. Wood. Welcome to the wood. It's such a strange thing. It's a fun exercise. Go find a piece of bark or a stick or a branch. Get a basic shape and then start coloring and layering and building up things. It's so, like, how weird is that? I love it. It's so strange. There's another thing I really like to do, and that's, I like to watercolor skulls. I know, I don't know why. That's not, I'm like not a macabre person, but it's something that I really enjoy doing with watercolor. So I'm really enjoying, with colored pencil, I'm really enjoying doing wood and bark and sticks. And while I won't be able to identify a lot of them, and I apologize for that, like, I'm just over here doodling my best life with a piece of bark. And the other day my husband was doing laundry. I'm sorry, I have to. And he reached into the pocket of one of my hoodies, and I had just been like collecting things in the backyard the day prior, and I forgot about it in the front pouch of my hoodie. And he reached in, and there was like moss and like lichen and some other stuff on it. And he goes, "Oh my God, what's in your pocket?" I'm sorry. And he looked horrified. And I'm like, "Oh my God, what is it?" And it just brought me back to like memories when our kids were really, really tiny. And I was doing laundry one time, and I found a meatball in the hamper. Oh, the joys of young kids. My eldest daughter, she was like, I don't know, she was 1. She put a meatball in the hamper. Anyway, so he looked horrified, and then he pulled out some branches and sticks, and he's like, it was hairy. And I'm like, I'm so sorry. I forgot those were still in my pocket. Drawing adventures with laundry. So yeah, this is where I'm at. This is how I'm doing this. This is how fast it's going. Be patient with yourself. Take breaks if you need to take breaks. If you are prone to hand cramps, loosen up on your grip, loosen up on your pressure. You know, set timers. Set a phone timer. If you have your phone by you, set a phone timer every 20 minutes. Get up, stretch. You know? Some of these things aren't talked about a lot, but artists and sitting a lot. So having a standing desk that you can alternate between standing and drawing and sitting and drawing is always nice. I get that that's a luxury. I just hunch over my desk. I'm very much a sit and draw person. But do set timers for yourself. Do stretch. Move your muscle groups. Stretch your hands. Get a hand massage. Take care of your hands. I have tons and tons of different types of gloves that I use for different stuff, for when it's cold, when I'm out in nature. Like, I protect my hands. Your hands are a very, very valuable tool. Make sure you protect them, especially in winter weather and the elements. I have fingerless fuzzy gloves. I have mittens. I have snow gloves. I have regular garden gloves. I have leather garden gloves for when I'm pruning blackberries. Like, just take care of your hands. The one thing I don't do that folks in this house are big on is like rock climbing and bouldering. I mean, 1, like my nails. Wouldn't be a big fan of all that. And 2, the gripping, especially when you're bouldering, like holding on and climbing, if that's, you know, it's a unique form of exercise. It's not for everybody, but I don't do it because it's just way too hard on my hands, and I need my hands to last. And trying to support my weight through gripping, dude, it's not comfy. It's just not. So no rock climbing for me. And that doesn't mean you can't be an artist and still do the rock climbing. It's just, you know, think about how you treat your hands in the long term, and then think decades ahead. If you're just starting out, realize that I am 44. My hands are tired. So take all that into consideration and really, really think about some of the things you do with your hands. Even if your hands don't feel cold, but it's cold outside, bundle up. If anybody asks what you're doing, just say, Kinder told me to. You can just put it on me. It's fine. Kinder told me to. I have to protect my hands. I'm an artist, and they're a valuable tool. They're a tool that has lasted me my entire life. She said so. Even put sunblock on the back of your hands. Really, really protect all your stuff. Like when you wash your brushes after every time you paint, make sure you protect your hands. Okay. Lecture over. I don't like lecturing. But I feel like some things just don't get talked about enough. And hands are one of them. But you can do self-hand massages. There, I'll look for an article. I'll link it in the description box. This is how this is going. Are you enjoying it? It's kind of strange. Okay. I'm going to keep going. I'm going to keep working. I'm going to keep layering. I'm going to keep building up the color to color match and applying pressure for the darker bits and lightening up for some of the lighter colors. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you have an absolutely wonderful day, and I will talk to you tomorrow. Bye. It was a bird fight.